Hello and welcome to part one of three of the VA Playbook. My name is James Townsend Rose. I'm the CEO of Outsourcery. For the last 9 years, we've been helping our clients win back time by providing them access to fantastic virtual assistants. The majority of our clients being SMEs, entrepreneurs, executives and business owners, predominantly in the UK, Europe, and the rest of the world. In this session, we're going to look at whether you really need a virtual assistant and explore some of the pros and cons. And in parts 2 and 3, we're going to be providing you with some hints and tips to finding the right virtual assistant and what to do to get the most out of the relationship. So let's dive in. The first thing, briefly, is what is a virtual assistant? So essentially, a virtual assistant is a remote professional who can provide a variety of services and tasks, predominantly in administration, marketing, and some technical areas. Some of the common tasks that VAs handle are listed here, but to be honest, given our experience, if a task exists in a business environment, we have provided that. So this list in reality is very long. I think what is universal amongst all the tasks that our VAs have done over the years is that it's either something that our client can't do, doesn't have the time to do, or doesn't want to do themselves. So let's look at some of the pros of hiring a virtual assistant. And in my mind, these are the top four. The first, it's a very cost-effective way to access skills and build a team. The majority of virtual assistants are on an hourly, billable, freelance, or contractual rate, which ends up being more cost-effective than a full-time employee. It's also a flexible type contract in the majority of cases. So this means you can increase the amount of time that you take of a virtual assistant on a month-by-month basis, which means that you can upgrade or downgrade those hours depending on business needs, things like seasonality, perhaps maternity cover or holiday cover for your own team. The third big pro of hiring a virtual assistant is that it saves you time. The majority of our clients, as I mentioned, are entrepreneurs and executives, and they're approaching us because they don't have time or their team doesn't have the time to get to some of the important things, or they're spending too much time on some of the administrative items in their business where they should be spending time on strategy and growth and sales, etc. The last big pro is it allows you to have fractional access to great expertise. So let's say an example, you're a small business and you need some CRM support, but you don't need a full-time person. Hiring a virtual assistant with CRM services for say 20 hours a month gives you that expertise, but only a fraction of the cost. Some of the cons of a virtual assistant are that they can be communication issues, perhaps time zone issues. It's obviously a remote role, so that can cause some issues in itself. Some of our clients do get challenged by the lack of control. Often these are tasks that they were doing historically and they have to give up that control. But in our parts 2 and 3, we look at ways that this can be mitigated. Certainly there are some security concerns. Sensitive data is being shared with the majority of VAs, things like password security, back-end access to systems. And so there are some security concerns that may arise when thinking about hiring a virtual assistant. And the last one is quality control, where of new virtual assistants certainly has to have quite close oversight in order to ensure great quality. So with that being some of the pros and cons, let's just look at a quick case study. So David from Eco Energy approached us about 5 years ago. They provide solar energy solutions B2B, and they were having some issues in their customer account department. We provided a virtual assistant from Outsourcery who has sat in their account department for the last 5 years and had significant increase. The reason why this was is because they came with specific CRM experience and could integrate a new CRM into the business and then help the business manage that CRM over the last 5 years with significant impacts on various parts of the business. And indeed, we've gone on to help David with other administrative areas of the business and financial areas over the last few months. So that's the end of part 1. Stay tuned for part 2 and 3, where we look at what you need to do in order to make sure you find the right VA, and then how do you work with a VA to ensure an optimal relationship. Thank you for watching.